5 to 7, 5 to 8, 5 to 7:30? By 5 to 7, yeah, you're counting, you go, 5 to 7:30. That's 5 to 7:30 at the downtown office to see them if you have to RSVP if you haven't done that.
We ready? How you guys doing today? Thank you for having me here, and thank you for hanging out and waiting. I'll try to make this as quick as possible. I know you guys are busy, probably have busy schedules. So Who is Real Marketing? As Brian said, we're obviously a real estate marketing company. We are a preferred vendor with RE/MAX. And how we got into RE/MAX and built our relationship is we're actually the ones who created the RE/MAX Collection magazine. So have you guys seen the magazine before? So we've been doing this for over 23 years. The owner of our company, David Collins, actually started this company in Boca Raton, Florida. So we have an office in Boca Raton that we just opened up about a year and a half ago. Our main office is in San Diego, and we also have an office in Vancouver. So we travel across the U.S. and do these presentations that I'm going to be showing you guys today. And what I'm here to show you, it's not a magic bullet. You guys probably get these in your emails, and when you open up your Facebook page, you will see, ads that say get 30 listings in 30 days. I'm sure you guys have all seen those. Or watch this webinar to get more listings. So we're not a magic bullet by any means. We're all about getting you more listings. So I'm sure you guys would like more listings, right? Prefer listings over buyers. So listing agents represent what percentage of all real estate transactions? Any guesses on that? Close. It's actually 83.5%. And people always ask, well, where do the rest of them come from? Well, those could probably come from FSBOs and things like that, right? But so listing agents obviously control the inventory, control the market. So that's why you want the listings. And the way I like to say it is, if you have 5 listings, out of those 5 listings, 2.5 to 3 of them are also going to become your buyer, right? So, what's that?
Not normal.
Not normal. So here's a thought for you. 71% of all homeowners only interview one agent. That number's actually gone up. It was like 68% a couple years ago. So obviously you guys want to be the first ones in front of the seller, right? So our objective today is to get you more listings, and how do we get them? I would say the better question is, how do we, where do they come from and where do we not go? Where do they not come from would be the better question. So Zillow and Trulia, are any of you guys using Zillow or Trulia right now? Yeah, and most of those leads that you get are buyer's leads, correct?
Yeah.
From Zillow? I mean, there's always an exception to the rule. I have had agents say, oh, I get seller leads from Zillow, but usually those are big teams that are spending $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 a month on Zillow marketing campaigns. So we know that the internet's going to get you buyer leads. Here's a statistic for you. Only 4.6% of sellers select a realtor from an internet search. Would you guys agree with that? Because where are your sellers coming from? Right? Referrals, repeat business. And then only 9.8% of buyers select a realtor from an internet search. So we know that the buyers are going online. We know that they're searching for homes, but most of those buyers already have an agent in mind. I mean, obviously, it's only 9.8%. So here's a NAR survey. I'm not going too fast for you guys. No. Okay, it's all right. I'm trying to. So what are homeowners looking for in a listing agent? What do you think the number one thing is that they're looking for in a listing agent? Okay. Anything else? So the number one thing, hyperlocal expert. So we all know that you guys can move to California tomorrow and sell houses there, right? How many of you when you go on a listing appointment, how many of your sellers have asked you, have you ever sold a home in my neighborhood? All the time, right? So it doesn't really matter, but it's important to the seller. So that's why hyperlocal is the number one. Number 2 is negotiation skills. And number 3 is internet international presence. RE/MAX does an awesome job with that. And from the sound of what I heard today, your guys' broker owner, they're doing a phenomenal job as well with getting you guys exposure online. And then number 4 is communication their way. So I guess I'm like a Gen X. I'm 44. So I would tell people, you can call me, you can text me, and you can email me. I'm good with all three. A millennial's gonna say, why don't you text me?
Yeah.
And a baby boomer's probably gonna say, call me, right? So that's important. And then, okay, so direct mail. Why do some agents have massive success with direct mail, and why do others fail? What is the quality of marketing your clients see every day? So when you guys go to the mall and you see, you know, watch ads, you see car ads, bike ads, what's the quality of that marketing? The example that I like to use with a car, I was in the automotive industry for over 15 years, Chevrolet and Subaru. So I always like to use this example. Go into a Chevrolet dealership, pick out the cheapest car, like the Chevy Cruze. Get a brochure on an $18,000 car. How nice is that brochure? It's beautiful, right? It's big, it's thick, a lot of information. I don't know how many times I've been on open houses and walked into $1 million, $1.5 million home and saw an MLS printout and the brochure wrap, right? So what's the quality of that marketing? What if the seller across the street's coming over to the house and they pull that out, they're like, wow, this is how this agent would market my home, I'm not gonna listen with them. So the quality of your marketing is very important. Relevant real estate information is also very important. We've all done this in the past, and the reason why we do this is to build value or add value to what we're sending. So like the recipe cards, and if any of you guys are doing recipe cards now, I'm sorry for saying this, but what you're doing is you're branding yourself as a cook, not as a real estate agent, right? Because that homeowner's like, oh, I can't wait to get Lisa's postcard next month and her new recipe. So they're not thinking of you as a real estate agent. It's time for a change. That's a great one if you want to, market yourself as a timekeeper. But the thing is, it's time for a change. Our watches, our cell phones, and everything go back and forward now automatically anyways. So again, these are things that we did to add value, but we want to keep everything real estate related. Consistency and branding. This is huge. So I'm going to get to this in a little bit, but this is branding. We have red, white, and blue. If you're branding yourself red, white, and blue, your business card should have the same look and feel as this. If you're collection, you're going to market yourself collection. Your business card should be collection. So everything you're doing is consistent. This postcard we see down here at the bottom, the green and yellow one there, or it looks green and yellow here. You guys see ads like that, 5,000 postcards for $150, and you think, oh wow, it's only $150 and I can send out a couple thousand of them. Well, if you send that postcard out, you just took away your consistency in branding. Those people don't even recognize you or know who you are, right? So you want to stay consistent. So everything you mail has an effect on your reputation and directly affects the perception of your professionalism. Would you guys agree with that?
Yes.
Okay. Another example, I got home from work about 3 weeks ago, or from a trip 3 weeks ago. I walk in my front door and there's a copy machine piece of paper, just a plain white piece of paper folded in half stuck in my door. I pulled it out and it said, I have buyers for your home. And I looked at this, and it was a Keller Williams agent, by the way, so. I looked at it and kind of laughed and said, I would never hire this person to market my home because this is showing me the quality of what they would do for my home. So I hope you guys aren't doing that. It's okay to door knock and drop stuff off, but just make sure it's good material. So what's the objective of direct mail? I like to say that it's more listings from people you don't know or your unmet database, right? So it'd be your unmets. And then the solution. All right, guys, so now you guys should all have one of these. Does everybody have one of these in front of them? Okay. Here, I can give you more. Grab another one. Did you need one? Okay, so let's get into the market update. So this is what I like to call farming on steroids, okay? So the first thing I want to point out is we have the community title. So I'm trying to think of a community here in Sarasota. Give me a community
Palmer
name.
Ranch.
Which one?
Palmer Ranch.
Okay, so Palmer Ranch. So we're going to have Palmer Ranch. The picture, go to the next slide. So the picture needs to represent Palmer Ranch. So when the homeowner gets the piece in the mail, they see the name of the community and the picture and they go, oh yeah, that's where I live. So the picture needs to be recognizable to the homeowner. So that could be like a landmark, an entrance, anything like that. And then variable data. So this is one thing that we do that nobody else really does, is each piece is personalized with the homeowner's name. So if it's in an LLC or anything like that, we'll actually go in and change it to, you know, current resident or to the homeowner of Palmer Ranch. So we actually go through and customize all of these mailing lists for you guys, because we feel that it's important to have it personally branded. Inside upper left-hand corner is going to be the agent's information, right? And then we're going to go to the community-specific map. So right below that would be the map on Palmer Ranch. And those are going to show the active pending and sold properties, okay? And then over to the right is the market data. So then we're going to have the active pending and sold data. Now I know in Florida you guys cannot show the actives and pendings. So there's a couple of different ways that we could do that. We could either say there's currently 22 homes active in Palmer Ranch, please call Lisa at, so we have a call to action. And we could do that with the pending as well, or we could do averages, okay? And then the sold data we can show. And then on the back, we have your information again, and you have a property, like you can do a just listed or just sold property here on the back. I want to go back to the inside really quick, it's not on my slide. But you guys will notice when you open this up here in the red, it says Jonathan and Angela Marie, if you want to know who your home would sell for. So that's a call to action that's also personalized with the homeowner's name. And then the other thing that you could do is you could have testimonials on here if you want. I would actually recommend having a testimonial, maybe some other call to actions. And then again on the back, it would be a featured listing of the community or listings or a property that you sold in the community, because the whole purpose of mailing this out is to show that you are the dominant agent in the community, right? So there's always a perception. So what's the perception of who's the dominant agent in your guys' mind in Palmer Ranch? Is there one?
Brian Getman.
Is he an agent?
No.
So that slide that you showed up there, that was one guy or that was the whole company?
That was all of them.
Okay.
All of the Remax.
Well, the competitor one, wasn't that Brian? That was somebody else? Okay, misunderstood then. So the perception is agents, when I first got my real estate license, I thought that Dan Conway was the dominant agent at Pacific Highland Ranch, which is where I live. And when I met David, the owner of our company, about 6 years ago, he called me into his office and I sat down and he was showing me what they do. And he said, who's the dominant agent in your community? I'm like, Dan Conway. And so he called Sarah, an assistant of his, into the office and said, Sarah, go pull all the data on Pacific Highland Ranch. So I went and pulled it, and he came in and showed it to me. He goes, Dan Conway had 2 listings that sold in Pacific Highland Ranch last year. Wow. So my perception that he was the dominant agent, because he does a great job at marketing to other agents that he's the dominant agent. So remember, when you send a piece like this out into a community, especially if it's hyper-local, you're building that platform that you're the dominant agent in the community, right? So this is a piece that goes out every month. We also have a community website. So the community website has the same look and feel as the market update, and I'm going to get into that with you guys here in a little bit. So what makes this piece so effective? It's personalized, relevant real estate information, and professional design. When you guys work with us, you actually will have your own personal designer. This is a templated red, white, and blue, and a lot of the Remax agents love this, but you can do 100% custom if you want. If you already have your own look and feel, if you're a collection agent, if your neighborhood's a collection neighborhood, I would highly recommend doing it in the collection look, okay? And then delivered on a consistent basis. So we know you guys get busy. How many of you guys ordered postcards? Like back in the day, you could order those templated postcards and they laid under your desk for 2 or 3 months because you were gonna send them out, but you just forgot or you didn't have time. So the thing that's nice about what we do, everything that you see in here, all this content, all this data, we pull it for you. Your designer pulls it, they update it, they send you a PDF every month. All you have to do is approve it, and it gets printed, mailed, and shipped. And since you guys are obviously in Florida, we would more than likely print your pieces in Boca, so it would get to you much faster than coming from San Diego, California, okay? community website. So again, I know that's kind of hard to see, but if you kind of hold up the market update, it has the same look and feel as the market update. So our website's more about a second validation. They're not like, I mean, there's SEO in them, but we're not telling you guys, hey, we're gonna get you top rankings in SEO. I mean, you could always do, as Brian was saying, you could do an AdWords campaign if you wanted to drive more traffic to it. But it's really for the homeowner. It's really to build that perception again of your professionalism. So they see you here, and now they can go to the community website and see you, and they can see that the average selling price in their community is this, and the average sell price is that. And then you have the, I can't read those numbers, otherwise I would call it out. Right below that, you have the sold data, and then there's your information again. Now the thing that I like about this site is just to go back to like Google AdWords campaigns, we also have a find out the value of your home page on here. So you could do an AdWords campaign to drive traffic to Palmer Ranch, find out the value of your home, they go fill out that form that comes to you as a lead, okay? And then home value features, we just went over that. So how well does this program work? This is Nate Martinez. Do you know Nate Martinez, Brian?
I do, yeah.
Yep. So Nate Martinez, he signed up with us, I want to say about 3.5, 4 years ago. And as you can see here, after 6 months with Real Marketing, he had 6 listings. Now the thing about Nate, he's a broker owner. So David, our owner of our company, worked with Nate personally. Nate signed up, and literally in the 5th month, he called David and said, I can't do this anymore, I'm not getting any results. And David's like, no, you got to keep doing this, you got to keep going. It's farming 101. It's not a magic bullet, it's not a quick fix. This takes time, right? So by the 6th month, he ended up getting those 6 listings. All of a sudden, they just all started hitting with them. And you could see after 6 months what his gross income was, 2.4 million in total sales volume. So farming is consistency every single month, right? It goes out every single month. Joe Clement, do you know Joe Clement too, Brian?
I do, yeah, Denver.
So Joe Clement, 1 year before Real Marketing, 4.5 million in total sales volume, and then first year with us, 24 million. Joe Clement used to do a piece, and he called it jokingly called it the Broadmoor rag. So it was like a piece of paper folded in half that he basically would just mail into 8 different communities. And David drove him around the area and said, why are you mailing out one piece? We can break this up into 8 individual neighborhoods and go hyper-local. And that's what he did. And that made all the difference in the world. And of course, the professional design and layout. And then other things that we do, property brochures. So we do property brochures, just listed, just sold postcards. We do all of that stuff as well. I want to go back to this. Do you guys have any questions on the market update? Anything come to mind on this?
I have a question.
Yeah.
You said that you're not around as far as because I get them in my neighborhood and they always have like the actual addresses and what's sold.
You're not supposed to. I mean, unless your guys'
I
stuff.
don't name the other ones that are inside.
I can send the sales data, but you cannot send the listed data.
Oh.
Yeah, the sold data definitely, because that's public information.
Yeah.
But listings and actives you can't. California, we can't. You can't do actives and pendings either. Just about everywhere.
I have to pay attention outside.
Yeah. Yeah, and usually is what happens is we do have a lot of agents that say, you know what, it's 1212 Johnson Street, just take out the 1212, they get a little gray, and that's completely up to the agent, because they're like, I'll wait and see if I get a warning. And I have one agent that does full addresses, and she's been with us for 3 years, and she's never gotten a warning. So really, it's another agent who would end up turning you in. That's how it always happens, right? All right, so just again, really quick on before I end this with all this other stuff I have here. Farming again, when you do this program, you guys have to think, you have to commit yourselves to at least a year, right? Because in 1 year, it might take 7 months to get a phone call, but you have to look at the ROI on the investment. That's the big thing with this. And if any of you went to R4 this year, I know Brian was there. Were you at R4?
No, but I went to broker owner.
You went to broker owner conference. So have any of you gone to
Next year.
R4 this year?
In March.
No? So R4 in Vegas, we had 3
That's the
panelists.
convention.
All 3 of those panelists have been with us for over 3 years. All of them said the first year broke even, made a little bit of money. One guy barely broke even. And then they all said, so two of them right now in year 3 have 35% market share of their community, And Lisa Groff, who's on this piece, she's like our example agent, but she's an actual agent in Arizona. She's at 25% market share in her community in Arizona, okay? So it really takes, 2-3 years before you really start reaping the benefits of doing this. So that's why you have to look at it long term. Have any of you ever farmed before? Yes. Were you consistent?
Absolutely.
Every month? Are you still doing it?
Yeah.
Okay, you're still farming?
Yeah.
Good. Is that how you get a lot of your business right now?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, so property brochures, just listed, just sold. The thing that I like to point out with property brochures, this is a 4-page property brochure. If you notice on the back, it has a mailing box. So the thing that we could do for you guys, if you're doing the 4-page market update, and you get a listing in your community, say in like the 4th month, you could say, hey, Alvin, I want to mail in a 4-page property brochure in lieu of the market update. You can do that at the same cost. And the reason why you want to do that, this shows that you know the community and that you are the hyper-local agent. The property brochure now shows that potential seller in the future that this is how you would market their home if they were to list with you. So I know agents, I know for a fact because I still have my license, I don't practice, but I know nobody sends me property brochures, everybody sends me postcards. And what do people do with postcards? Right? They might look at them, but they're gonna toss them. So the whole objection is to stand out in the crowd and outclass the competition, and that's what this piece does. Or that's what a 4-page property brochure does. As David Collins says, the owner of our company, don't trip over the pennies to the dollars. So that's a big no-no. And of course we do postcards, but the just sold postcards and the just listed all have call to actions on them, client testimonials on them, so it's not just a basic just sold postcard. Everything we do for you will have the same consistency in your branding, whatever whatever colors and stuff you decide to do. All right, so I'm going to show you guys these things really quick. So this is what we call a pre-listing book. So this is one version of it, okay? So inside of here, it's going to be custom with your information, right? And then the first 4 pages are basically all custom and the last 4 pages are custom. Everything else in here is about Remax. You could do a 100% custom book if you want as well, but we already have this stuff laid out for you guys. The other thing that we have is we have a buyer's guide. So this is something that you could give to your buyer. And then we have a seller's guide that you could give to your seller as well, okay? And then another version of our pre-listing books are these. So we have one in collection, and we have one in red, white, and blue, okay? And again, the whole idea with these is you have your assistant, or maybe you drop this off a day or two before you go on the listing appointment, so they can read about you and read about Remax. And then when you go on the listing appointment, you have the option. I mean, if it's $1 million home, I'd let him keep the book. But you could always take it back too. These books are only $29.95 if you order 6 or more. So they're not that expensive. The magazine, you guys all know about the magazine, right? Do you guys? Okay, so the Remax Collection magazine, notice there's 2 different covers, right? So what we do is, you can get a full page ad in the magazine, and then you can mail the magazine to a farm or to an area, right? And it's just a minimum of 200 if you want to mail it. When you mail it, you now become the featured agent on the inside cover. Your listing that you just took is also on the cover. And then it's personalized with your information and mailed into the neighborhood. So everything in the middle of the magazine is the same, the guts are the same. The only things that's different is the cover. So this gets mailed to your 200 homes here. This one gets mailed to 200 homes in Canada, 200 homes in San Diego. So the distribution on the magazine is roughly 23,000 every other month is when that goes out. Okay, so implementation we talked about. Exclusivity. Do you guys agree with the exclusivity part?
Yeah.
Right? Everything here is pretty much neighborhood oriented, isn't it? Pretty cut and dry. Because some areas we go to, it is hard because there really is no neighborhood, so we have to do like areas, which works well too. So there's different things that we can do for you guys. I just wanted to show you guys a couple of things here before I end this. Do you guys know Al Dumas?
Yeah.
So he's one of our clients. This is his piece that goes out. Also, Jay and Christy Travis, they do about 4 of these with us, and they also do a sphere piece. So you can also do a sphere of influence piece on this as well. I'm just showing you guys a custom on this. This is the landings. They're dancing. He's in Coral Springs area. And then another thing that we could do for you guys, just to show you, this is Tripta. She is in Boca Raton. So this is something you might want to do like once a year, twice a year, but it's a poster mailer. So this is something that's nice to mail to your farm too. So we could get very custom with all the stuff that we do. And then last but not least, I feel like I'm just going down a drip line here. Last but not least, we have a what we call a listing marketing packet. This has 12 pieces in it, and it would be customized with your information. It's pretty much templated like this, but the whole idea is you go on a listing appointment, and you can lay this out on the table and take out all these pieces and show the seller, here's the type of marketing that I do for all of my sellers, right? Which property brochure would you like me to, choose for you? This is a really cool one if I can find it. This is called the gatefold. So just different pieces, and it shows your professionalism. I know when I was an agent, that's why I'm not an agent anymore, is I had a really hard time with like going on a listing appointment, just finding stuff to show people. So this is perfect for that scenario. I'm going to be here the rest of the day today, and I'm going to be here all day tomorrow. Any of you that want to meet with me one-on-one to find out more information, to find out if your neighborhood's available, I will also I can get you the number of homes, I'll pull the stats for you, make sure that the neighborhood has a good turnover ratio, because turnover is huge. And we also want to make sure that there's no dominant agent in the community already. And I can almost guarantee most of them that I pulled in Boca in the last couple of days, there was none. I mean, there was like one person in one of them, but most of the time there is no dominant agent. So I could do all that for you guys. Again, I'll be here the rest of the day today and tomorrow, and I schedule our one-on-one meetings with you guys. And I'm assuming that, I don't know what office, Brian, what would be the best office to meet you, everybody at?
Well, you know what, you could, I don't know, who might be interested in doing this? Do you have interest level, do you think it'd be better to have them at Osprey or Venice or Sarasota? What's the consensus?
I have a question.
Yeah.
You're from California.
Yeah.
A shop over there, $750,000.
Right.
What price range do you recommend? Because these look absolutely great, but I'm sure the cost is associated with that look also. So what price range do you recommend to get a good ROI on this? Because you're talking about 2 to 3 years of doing this.
Yeah, great. That's a great question. So,
Because here it's, if you move away from the water, those are, comparable to California prices, but once you go, especially where we are, you go about a mile in, which
Right.
is not far, it's a totally different market. You went from 2-3 million to about 200,000
right. So,
a mile away.
so a good price point to do the 4-page market update in is at least $250 and up to get a good, to get an ROI on your investment. $250 and up. I was in Kansas City a few months ago. Their neighborhoods are 180 to 200. That's like their max. They bought the 4-page market updates, and they're killing it out there because nobody else is doing this. And so they're starting to take over the market. Like I said, there's always an exception to the rule. Just because I say you might not get a call for 7 months, I have people that do this and they get a call the first month. So you just never know. The reason why I say that is you need to look at it long term. It's farming. I've had agents get a call and listings in the first couple of pieces, and then 7 months go by, they call me and go, this isn't working, I'm not getting any calls. I'm like, what are you talking about? You got two listings out of it. So, it's gonna take a while to get the rhythm going. Any other questions? Yes?
Did you say exclusivity meaning like only one agent?
I think you so much for bringing that up, yes. So the exclusivity is exclusive to one agent, so we will not sell it to more than one agent. So as long as you're doing a market update and you're selling and you're sending it monthly, you get exclusivity to your community. Yes. Or area. Okay, so the minimum, I'll give you the minimum cost. So the minimum cost is $595 a month, and that's up to 300 homes, okay? It basically ranges from $1.89 per piece to $1.69 per piece, depending on how many pieces you're doing, okay? And we do let vendors co-op something. That's an option for you guys. I would not recommend having any more than one vendor though, because then if you start adding a whole bunch of vendors, that's taking away from the piece, it's taking away from the community, it's taking away from you, right? You want them to remember you too. You don't want to have you and 4 vendors over here, because then it's taking away from you. Any other questions?
How does the agent get a hold of you?
I have my business card up here that I could give to everyone, or they can find us online too at realmarketingforyou.com. But for you guys that are here, please come and see me at the end if you're interested, like I said, in scheduling a one-on-one appointment. Did you have a question?
I did. So if you weren't in, because we already have a lot of our plans and our business plans in place right now, if you're going to do it in the future, is there any value to meet with you to discuss possibly just different, maybe the listing book or the listing?
100%, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it's not just the market updates. If you guys liked any of this other stuff that you saw, please schedule a time to meet with me. But that brings up a good point. Right now, we're going into the 4th quarter in a little while, right? So a lot of you guys are probably thinking, and at least you should be, what's your marketing going to be for 2017? So you could also be looking at, hey, this looks really cool. Maybe I should think about doing this. I mean, I could still meet with you now, and we could get something on the books and get something going, and then start the campaign in January if you want. That's fine. Okay? Any other questions? Thank you so much, you guys, for having me, and please come see me.
Thank you, Alvin. Thank you for coming, I really do appreciate you being here. And again, remember, it's not just about the farming, he's got all these other things too that you may be interested in. He's got to help you compete with other agents, they're awesome. And the thing is, you don't have, like listing presentations, things like that, they'll set that stuff up for you, and you don't have to buy a ton of them. You buy a couple of them. You know, I think you guys